What's up, Vibranium Squad? Stand up today because in this video, I want to give y'all my review on Black Lightning Season 1, Episode 10. I want to review that for you guys. But before I start this video, I want you guys to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and post a comment below and let me know what you guys think about my review. Also, I want you guys to stay safe. It's important that all y'all stay safe and stay at home so we can beat this virus and we can go back to our daily lives. Now that that's out the way, let's start off with 2Bits. Now, for all those who don't remember, 2Bits was the drug dealer. I want to say back episode 5. My memory could be wrong, but he was the guy that Black Lightning beat up and forced him to turn straight. And he's out there now. He sells DVDs after his encounter with Black Lightning. He sells DVDs now. And during this time of selling the DVDs, he ends up seeing Nema, the student in Garfield. If y'all remember Nema, she was in episode 3. And Anissa found her with some 100 boys and trying to talk them and coax them into taking some green light, and she stopped them from doing it. And the girls were a little upset about that. Typical teenage stuff. Well, one of the guys ended up giving her the green light, and she ends up turning, almost like she was the Human Torch or something. She started combusting into fire, and then a group of men, which could be construed as the ASA, end up kidnapping her. So as they kidnapped her and put her in the thing, obviously 2Bits like, whoa, what's this? And so that's when the episode starts. So then we switch over to Thunder. Now Thunder was on her own, doing her own thing without Black Lightning, and ends up finding the missing children that's from 30 years ago, or so she thought. Now, one of the things that I commend and I actually liked was that normally, and when she started learning her power, she was brash and she would just make all types of mistakes because she doesn't know the extent of her powers. But in this instance, one of the things that she did is she thought about it. At first, she was going to bust the children out. She was getting ready to do that, and then she thought about it I think she thought about it and said, know what, I'm gonna go back, get my dad, and then bring him here, and then we can rescue him. So she actually thought it through, which is good. I like that change in her character because that makes her more likable and makes her think about using her powers before she just go gun-ho about using her powers. Because just because you're super strength and all that doesn't mean you have to get reckless all the time. So I actually had liked that change that they did. So good job, writers, on changing that brashness for a little bit, which leads us to when she does talk to Jefferson about the kids, and she got her dad and was like, yo, this is green light. These might be the kids from 30 years ago. Now, when they come back, they get ambushed by, the ASA guards that was watching them the entire time, or at least watching her, and they end up getting ambushed, and they end up, beaten up on. Oh, I'm sorry. They end up beating up on the ASA for a little bit. And after they beat him up, they left. Now, one of the things I also want to talk about is LaLa, or as they're calling now, the Tattoo Man. But anyway, LaLa is still doing old school drugs, like moving coke, heroin, whatever the old school drugs are, weed. He's still in the process of moving them. His crew wants to move green light because green light is highly addictive. It's like a stronger brand of crack, if you want to compare it to something. And one of the things that his soldier told him is that it felt like maybe LaLa wasn't built for this. Now the thing is, he got his ear ripped off, which was intense because you don't expect that. So he ends up getting his ear ripped off. And as he got his ear ripped off, the other crew members end up getting in line quickly after they saw that, because they was like, we ain't about this life. We ain't about to get our throats ripped out or our nose broke or whatever. And he told them, get back out on them corners. So I thought that was a little funny about that, because you don't threaten a dude that's been dead and he came back to life. Like, everybody knows he's been dead and he's talking to himself. So something about the character may be off, and y'all, you testing him, you must be crazy, because something's going on. So I do think that that's interesting that his own team wanted to go against him. And that also leads us to 2-Bits. Again, because 2-Bits, if y'all remember in the first part, he saw the student. He ends up telling Jefferson. He actually goes to Jefferson's actual house to tell him about what he saw and the ASA. They didn't show what 2-Bits actually said to Jefferson, but he did give some insight by saying, he's selling DVDs. He still has his eyes on the streets, but he's not necessarily in the streets like he used to. And that he just saw the ASA come out, snatch a little girl. She turned her to fire after taking green light. So that intrigues Jefferson. He said, okay, you can tell me a little bit more about that. And when he does, like I said, they don't really show it. They don't really show it too much about whatever he says to him. Now, the thing about Jennifer that we actually learned is that her powers are based off of emotion. So whenever she gets angry or she's excited or whatever, her powers activate. And as we know, she's not 100% happy about having powers and abilities, because in her eyes, she wants to be a normal girl. And when her friend almost broke her neck, her powers activated. So that's an interesting thing about Jennifer that I like that they're doing, is that she has to control her emotions. Because she doesn't control her emotions, bad things can happen. So I do like that, because she's pretty much, they're implying that she's like a nuclear bomb or a time bomb. And I actually like that perspective of the character. That's like something unique to the character. Then we get to Martin, Agent Martin, who he ends up finding Gamby. He ends up going with Gamby. After he actually threatened to shoot up everybody in the on the streets of Freeland, and if Gamby didn't go with him. When Gamby decides to go with them to save the people of Freeland, he was disappointed. He was not all that happy. So what they ended up doing is torturing Gamby. Now, the reasoning why they torture Gamby was because they have suspicion that Jefferson is Black Lightning. And because they have suspicions of that, or I shouldn't say they have suspicions of Jefferson as Black Lightning, they're asking who is Black Lightning. And, they start beating him. And they beat this dude pretty bad. They literally beat this dude half to death. They put water all in his mouth and stuff. And so one of the things they end up doing is getting Jefferson to convince Gamby to talk. And then Jefferson uses his powers to shut off the lights, and then they beat up and kill the soldier. Well, Gamby technically kills the soldiers, to be honest. And after he kills the soldiers, they go home. 2-Bits also had a brief talking about to obviously Jefferson again about what he saw. And not only that, the funny thing is that when Two Bits is talking to Black Lightning, some lady kept trying to capture Black Lightning by throwing stuff, and then Two Bits asked her what's her name, and she pretty much named Bill names like Electric, Rent. That was her name. That I thought that was a little funny thing for the episode, because I thought this episode needed some comedy, and they released 2 or 3 instances of comedy in the episode. But the major thing in this episode, honestly, and let me look at my notes real quick, was Carafati, the vice principal. We learn that she is an agent of ASA. She's part of the organization. When I first saw that, I was like, dog, that's crazy. Like, I didn't expect her to be an agent of the ASA, because especially on how she acts around Jefferson and always seemed to like him and stuff, it's really interesting to see that she's actually the enemy. And Martin had pretty much told her that Jefferson Pierce is Black Lightning. He feels like he's 100% positive, and he's asked her what's she gonna do about it. You know, at first she was like, nah, he's not. I've known him for years. And then he asked him, will you do what needs to be done if Jefferson is Black Lightning? She said, yeah. And that's pretty much how the episode ends. So this episode, I would give it a 3 out of 5 do-rags. There were some things that I thought that they could have done better. Kind of like they should have showed how pretty much that Thunder was getting tracked. That's what they should have showed, because she was there, then she come back and they disappear, and in the ambush they should have showed like how that whole thing got set up. Other than that, I think that was like the major thing in the episode. But if you guys like my review, again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, y'all. Show brother some love. I'm just playing. I'm playing. I'm just trying to lighten y'all mood with the pandemic going on. You know, just trying to lighten the mood for y'all. But just let me know what y'all think. All right. Peace out.